This episode of Off My Shelf contains coarse language and adult conversation. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, my name is Tracy James, and welcome to Off My Shelf, a podcast of movies that are well off my shelf, where we go through my DVDs and talk about the movies in my collection. In this episode, Mike Suderman is here to chat about the nerdy Simpsons cousin of a show, Futurama. Welcome!
Hi!
Thanks for joining me this morning for this recording.
Yeah, thanks for having me on to bloviate about another show that I love.
Yes. I do must admit, you're picking some real nerdy shows, so yeah. I'm okay with all of this.
I feel like cooler people can talk to the cooler shows. It's but you know this nerdy corner is where I've got I feel most at home.
Yes, yeah. I mean, when you have jokes that are based on what is it, the sum of two cubes? It's fun. Yes. you can't go nerdier than that. You're like, math jokes. Yes.
Exactly. How else are you going to make a joke about two robots with serial numbers that are expressible as the sum of two cubes and also look the same? Except for an evil.
Flexo. Yes. I must admit, I have thoroughly enjoyed rewatching the 2 volumes of Futurama that I have, which actually, according to IMDb, spans 3 seasons of the show. Because I think the last 2 episodes of volume 2 is in season 3. I don't know why, but
it aired in a strange order. I can't remember exactly why, but in airing order, I think that the first season, there was a season break just before the Titanic episode. So instead of the Slurms worm episode being the season 1 season finale, it ended up being like mid-season somewhere. I don't know.
A little bit later. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of happy that episode wasn't a season finale because I forgot how gross that episode is.
Yeah.
I was watching it and I was just like, I'm feeling nauseous. Why? It's a cartoon worm. This is weird. It's Wonka. What's happening?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite episodes, and I've watched it a lot. But on this rewatch, I was a little bit more. Maybe it's just pandemic. I'm more aware of germs or whatever. Just my brain is tuned to a different thing. But yeah, that worm slurm queen is just like way grosser than it's been on any of the many rewatchings.
Exactly.
Or maybe also the teeth falling out, like that really got me. Where
yeah, definitely. There were just too many things in that episode, and every time something happened, I was like, "Oh my god, that's wrong! Please stop! I beg of you."
Oh man.
But I think that's one thing I really like about the show is that no matter how quote unquote over the top it gets, it still manages to be really funny. Like, it made me queasy, but I was laughing the whole time, Yeah. So it was fine.
It sits in that like kind of strange place, at least for me, where it's character driven enough that it's still got that like Simpsons, King of the Hill 90s feel to it. But the jokes are irreverent enough that it's and like non sequitur enough that it's like kind of makes me think of those like really good seasons of The Simpsons or other stuff before it gets full Family Guy, where it was literally just like kind of word association and stuff like that, which can also be funny, but is like I should say off the top of this podcast that I'm only really familiar with the like original run of Futurama before the multiple reboots, but it for me it threads that needle between like there's enough actual character stuff that it always keeps the show grounded in some way, like in some kind of characteristic, like at least the characters I care about the stakes for them a little bit more than just like, oh, I wonder what Peter Griffin's gonna get up to today,
Yeah, no, and I completely agree with you. And I think that's one of the reasons why, like, my biggest complaint about this show is the first episode. Like, the pacing is off, it's so slow. And yeah, I mean, that happens to a lot of shows because the first episode is all about just introducing the world and introducing the characters. So it takes a little bit more, and you don't care about anything yet. So you're just like, ugh, why am I looking at this? And despite the fact that I know all the characters and I know what's coming after, my complaint is still, why does this episode suck so much? It's not, I don't know. Suck is a strong word, but there's just something...
There are far worse episodes, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
There's some real stinkers.
But at the same time, I watch it and I'm like, oh God, that was the first episode of the show? I mean, I guess it set it up. And then as soon as the second episode starts, it's like off running. And you're just like, this is amazing. Of course, this is why this stayed around, right? So, I mean, I'm glad this is, I guess, like, with Matt Groening behind it, they wouldn't have canceled after the first episode, which is great. Because I think if this was like his first show and that was the first episode, I think it would have been one of those things where they're just like, yeah, nobody watched it. We're not going to bother with this anymore. It would not have made it to that second episode. Whereas because he had that space to do one episode, then the next one, he was allowed to actually like build on it. And I'm so happy that it worked out that way, because from the second episode on, I laughed throughout the whole thing still. Like I laughed my ass off. So it's great.
Yeah. It's funny because the first episode, it has a lot of stuff in it that like either they only reference tangentially again, or so the whole story is about these career chips, and this like he's going to be marked as a delivery boy forever by getting this career chip implanted. But then they like never one episode, again, at least during the four original volumes, I think that they refer to it again. It's not until season 4 with the bee, like the space honey or something, that they talk about the career chips. They talk about it
in the episode with the girlfriend comes back. She's also frozen.
Oh yeah, because she gets unfrozen. You're right. Right. Absolutely.
It comes back there, and it also comes. Oh yeah, no, but that's the same episode where her like ex coworkers come over, and they have like a poker game. Is that the same episode?
No, that's a different episode, but I don't think they mention career chips specifically, but there they specifically show that like, oh yeah, you can just get fired and stuff. Like Bender has multiple jobs over the course of the show. Like they all end up getting multiple jobs, but it's not like this weird pseudo, I don't know, caste system or whatever you would call it. It's
like we made it easy by giving you a career chip, but you can really do whatever you want. Is pretty much what the show says. Yep. Also, they reference it more often, I think, than the career chips, but the suicide booths. Just like I remember listening to an interview where they said that one of the network notes that came back was, why is there a lineup for a suicide booth on New Year's Eve? That's pretty grim. It's not even just that suicide booths exist. It's not even that on New Year's Eve you have to line up. I
often wonder about that guy who goes in just before Friday.
Right. That's true, right? You're just like, okay, can you come out? Sure. But to make it slightly more grim, I completely understand why there's a lineup, because the holidays are the most depressing time of year.
Totally understand.
Statistically, that is known. Suicide rates go up, calls to hotlines go up, people end up in emergency more often for like doing stupid things. So I think this was just a future representation of that.
I think that's reasonable.
The first time you see it, you think it's funny. I thought it was funny. But then the more you watch it, and like maybe it's just the older I get and closer to death, I'm just like, oh, that's dark, man.
Yeah.
Seriously, that is so dark. Yeah.
It's super dark, which I really like. I also really like because in the first episode, like not everybody's characters are fully settled yet. Not even the voices are kind of off. But Bender is already there trying to scam the suicide booth out of a quarter. Like it's just like that part of him was from scene one.
Yeah. We're like the characters we know Fry, we know Bender. Go.
Yep.
And neither of those characters have changed throughout the whole show, which is great. But everybody else did little tweaky changes in here and there and stuff. But even a couple of the characters weren't introduced until the second episode. And you know what? I'm fine with it. Everything's good.
The second episode is also great. Where he's still so excited about the future, and he's like, the moon? We're going to the moon? I'm gonna be like an astronaut. And then they get to the moon before he's done his countdown from 10.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, tell you the truth, if I woke up in some future time or whatever, and all these things that people are considered to be normal, I did blow my mind. I mean, like, just think about, for example, podcasting. Think about at home, I can record my own thing. But think about somebody from like the 1950s coming to now, and they'll be like, you can do that? What is this screen? How is it so small? How are you talking to someone else? Like, it would blow their mind. Or even if you think about, like, you know, people who live in metropolises, people are just like, look, Toronto, for example, you know, they live in, like, I don't know, some place else. And they're just like, oh my God, we're going to Toronto. We're like, okay, that's nice. So that's just, the buildings and there's stuff to do and walking
Everybody
around.
has most of the access to most of humanity's knowledge in their pocket, but we use it to spread dog memes and conspiracy theories.
Dog memes are much more interesting than knowledge. I'm just saying. You know?
Yeah. Well, even the episode, it feels so retro watching the Futurama episode where they log on to the internet, right? Like that they have to. There's a joke about they have to log off so he can use the phone line. Like
those are my two notes. I'm like, is AOL still a thing? And do people understand we used to have to like get off the internet to use the phone? Like, did you remember this?
Yeah.
So I mean, I remember it very clearly.
Oh, for sure.
You know, being up and trying to download something, and your mom picks up the phone and you're like, it's been downloading for 6 hours, and it's a song, you know, like it's Mambo number 5 or something. You're just like, I'm never gonna get it.
I really have to download this Smashing Pumpkins song on Napster. That was advanced. That was before
advanced,
like you just had to dial into. I think my first taste of home internet was the University of Toronto had like a free net internet. Like you could do some really basic browsing if you dialed into some modem at the University of Toronto somewhere. I don't know how it all got set up. But
I've been lucky. My dad and my brother are both tech nerds. They're just really into like technology and all this kind of stuff. And so I have had a computer in my life since I was since I can remember, actually. So I don't know, like 4.
Yeah. Wow.
And like my brother used to be on BBS systems and all that kind of stuff, like very early on. And then as soon as we could get internet at home, we got internet at home, and we got a whole bunch of those AOL discs.
Yeah.
Like every other week, just put another disc in. And I think you got like 40 hours per disc or something. And the thing is, we forgot about all of those things for a long time until we were moving out of our house. Yeah. And in the basement, we found stacks of these discs. I don't understand why we kept them. I don't understand why we didn't just throw them out or something. But we found, like, I'm sorry, there was probably a couple hundred of these discs. I'm not kidding.
So there's 8,000 hours of internet, or 80,000 hours of internet. Come on. How does math work?
Why are these here? What is happening? It was hilarious.
That's cool.
But yeah, that was just like a throwback. I'm like, oh, I remember those days, and go to MSN, and then we like upgraded to ICQ, and every 2 minutes it was like,
Yeah,
and then there's, tapping away.
But like just even the idea that like the internet is like you're either on the internet and then you're off the internet, right? Like not the like us where we're just kind of immersed in internet fog at all times.
At all times, yeah.
Yeah, like the idea of that they go to the internet and all the chat rooms and the filthy chat room and the filthy chat room.
Yes. It's true. Like, it's so weird to think about it that like they were envisioning the year 3000, but their vision of it is so retro. I guess that's kind of like any sci-fi that's not current. Their vision of the future is just so much different than what it used to be, because we just couldn't imagine a world where we were online all the time, or that, I'm trying to think of different references to Futurama, and I can't right now, but
that's
I don't know.
No, cause it's totally weird, and obviously because all of the writers on this show were like the biggest nerds ever, and so obviously they knew that. I mean, they're all sci-fi nerds, so they know that this comes up with any sci-fi. So apparently that was the thinking behind in the pilot episode where Fry gets frozen, and you have the montage of Earth getting destroyed, like civilization getting destroyed over and over. Their thing, like, obviously it's whatever, it's a comedy show, they joke around they have all that artistic license anyway, they didn't need to do this, but the thinking was that if society had crumbled 2 or 3 times, that they could get away with justifying certain technology that's basically not advanced at all, other technology that like advanced a whole bunch, because like this like upheaval caused like certain things to get lost or forgotten. Like all the videotapes were destroyed during the second coming of Jesus. I was like, what? As apparently the only major issue was that old episodes of Ally McBeal that had been taped no longer exist.
No, wasn't it? It's something MacNeille.
Single female lawyer.
Because like one of the things that I was watching the show, and I always used to complain about like why are they getting what old New York was supposed to be like wrong? Like, I don't understand how they get this wrong. And then I was thinking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, because in the first episode everything was destroyed and came back like medieval, and then was destroyed and then came back as like, futuristic or whatever. And then of course there was the second coming of Christ in there somewhere. And I was just like, oh yeah,
zombie Jesus.
Yeah. I was so sad he only said that once in this volume. I was sad about that. But yeah, I was like, oh yeah, everything would have been destroyed, all records would have been destroyed, all those people would be dead. So yeah, it'd be like us digging up pharaohs right now and be like, oh, this was a thing. You're like, we shit in that pot. What's wrong with you? You're weird.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. I mean, you think about how much we don't know about like 1,000 years ago, like that's like early, like very early medieval. Like we know a few things, but like how they lived their lives in broad strokes, like there's just huge portions of the stuff that they didn't write down, or there was like illiteracy because it was just all apprenticed to like I don't know. I've been watching a lot of this stuff about like how they manufacture different products, and because it was all apprentice to master, teaching. They're like everybody who had ever made this thing knew what they were talking about, so they didn't feel the need to explain to somebody who had never done it before anywhere that they had written down. So they're like, yeah, just do it in the usual way. and then they just do it. Everybody just knows, right? Like, and so like you imagine how much we could potentially lose about 1,000 years into the future, where like, I don't know, we probably have excellent records from certain aspects of life and other stuff totally disappear. I don't know.
I I actually think right now, because of the internet and even maybe like 15 years ago and stuff, when they had all those like live journal, all that kind of stuff, that shit, even if you can't access it, that shit is still somewhere. Okay. And and you know, with like Twitter and Instagram, and people are just like posting shit like, I ate breakfast today, this is what it was, I did this today, blah blah blah. I think in the future they're gonna have unless the second coming of Christ happens, let's put that out there.
Yeah,
people are gonna have a really good
highly
idea.
Electromagnetic event that would
be. That would be exactly. They'd have a very good idea of like how life is right now, because everybody has access to, well, not most have access to everything. So and that's one of the things I find really, really interesting. Like I'm not going to be around for this, of course, or unless I do cryogenically freeze myself or whatever. But I am so curious, like what museums of the future are going to be, because I mean, there's not going to be any archaeology of it. There's not going to be like, most of our relics are going to be like digital, because they're going to have like a whole, you know, meme ward of the like the ROM or something. Like it's going to be crazy, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, when you think about it, I mean, you think about like, oh, classical music, and they've got like hardcore gangster rap in it. Like it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be weird.
Definitely weird.
So we'll see. I think our future is gonna be slightly different than in Futurama.
I hope so. It like I said, it's a little bit grim. I hope in 1,000 years we've figured out maybe different ways to approach the holidays where we don't need to line up for suicide booths, or we don't have murderous Santa Claus robots. Or you know, we don't have to have back alley dealers in alien organs where we get sold Z-ray eyes and gills.
What? That's the one thing I do want. What are you talking about?
Let's do more than X.
Yeah. I don't know. I actually think, despite the dangers of it, I actually think the future represented in Futurama is quite optimistic, to be honest. Because, I mean, it's not like Star Trek optimistic. Like Star Trek optimistic is like that's a different level of optimistic. Okay, it's crazy. But like it's relatively optimistic based on sci-fi that is out there, because a lot of sci-fi, especially through like the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, it was all about like, oh, it's just the apocalypse and you're gonna have to forage for food and kill each other. Like that was like 80% of the sci-fi from that time period. And like right now it's more about like the future. We're gonna have really cool things, but we're also gonna have more evil people. Yeah, and we're gonna be able to be more evil than ever before. And you're just like, well, it's even a darker future. Whereas I find with this, it's like, you know, people are doing relatively well. Sure, there's robots, sure, there's poverty. It's just like our time right now. Some things are good, some things are bad, but overall, it's okay. You can fly around in spaceships and be a delivery boy. It's good. We'll have a good time.
Yeah. The picture of New York traffic congestion there's a newsreel where they show those like transport tubes just crammed with people. Like I feel like, oh, that's a little grim, but yeah, you're right. You're still building new infrastructure.
Didn't Elon Musk say he was going to build something like that, or some kind of fancy tube transport thing? The whatever, the loop. The loop. Hyperloop. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I don't want to be the first person in it, but yes, I'm looking forward to it.
That'd be cool. Yeah. No, you're right. It is it is kind of an optimistic thing. They've terraformed Mars. They've done, a lot of things. It's a little bit more, you're saying like 90s sci-fi was pretty grim. So like it's more of a Demolition Man view of the future than like a T2 version of the future. Is that fair to say?
I think it's pretty fair to say. I mean, when you think about it though, like Demolition Man is also pretty dark. Like, yeah, there's what is it, San Angeles they live in?
Yeah.
And it's like a new city under Cocteau. Why do I remember these things? It's fine. I have watched that movie like 800 times, and I'm very sad it's not in my collection, but it's okay.
Yeah, because you would have gone through it already.
Oh yeah, I would have, and I would have talked about it for like hours. Okay, it's fine. Just it would be like it'd be like 45 minutes just on the 3 seashells. Like that.
Yeah.
That would, yeah.
There's a Taco Bell in every corner.
God. But like even in that version, it's for a fact that there has been catastrophe and this is a walled city. So you don't know what outside that wall looks like, A. And B, half of their their populace is underground because what's above ground, though it looks nice, is excessively oppressive. And the difference between, as long as you stay above ground in that world, it is relatively positive. But by the end of it, it does bring out that darker aspect of it. Whereas in Futurama, yeah, it shows little dark elements because all societies have little dark elements. But whether you're above ground on Earth or you're in space, everything is relatively good for most. Right,
but they have the literal exact thing that you just described with the mutants underground. And the sub, I don't know, that's a pretty grim existence for the sewer mutants, and they're haunted by the El Chupacabra.
But that's true. Like in this first these 2 volumes, there's only one episode that deals with the sewer mutants.
Yeah.
Because they come in more regular later on, if I remember correctly.
Well, because eventually we find out that Leela's parents are from down there. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Sorry. It's only 22 years old. It's fine.
Oh my God, really?
I know.
Oh. Anyway.
You're welcome.
Sorry. That was just the sound of me aging.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't really think about it that way.
Yep.
But I guess it's like because they live in old New York underground, and then it's like a bayou for some reason.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I did forget about it. Okay, so never mind. There is a dark part to it.
There's a lot of dark parts, I think. Like it's just
so. Okay.
But it's still fun, and the fact that they have robots that are built for crime. It's funny.
They got robots built for everything, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I actually really like the whole idea of because so much of their populace is robots, even though they're built for different things, they still have to have a religion for some reason, because I guess you have to build a robot for religious things, but they also built a devil just in case. It's so weird.
It is exceedingly weird. All of the different custom built robots for specific purposes. I actually don't know if this is true, but the preacher bot always makes me think of the electric monk from Dirk Gently, where they build something to believe in things for them. But one of my favorite characters in the whole show is Hedonism Bot, because the idea of somebody making a robot for the express purpose of it enjoying itself is just so ridiculous to me. It's why are we building robots that do these things? What is happening at Mom's Robot Company? That's what I want to know.
That's the thing, right? It's I guess because we live in a world where a robot, or if you build technology of any kind, it has to have a legitimate purpose. We are building this to do this, right? Yeah. Where I think they have just gotten so advanced and they've gotten to a point where anything useful has been made, or is going to be made very soon, why not just try a couple of random things here and there? Just throw them out there. Just let it happen.
If they have all these extra resources, would it not then be like kind of a post-scarcity Star Trekian, world?
No, it wouldn't, because the thing about the Star Trek world is that with the Federation and humans in particular, they believe they have gotten to an ultimate state of being where, yes, we have all our resources and we have the ability to build and do whatever we want. But even though they have been put out there, and yes, they get into dangerous situations, they're like, no, we are better beings than everybody else because we don't believe in war anymore, because we talk first, not fight. Or, there are different ways to negotiate and solve problems. And, we don't think just because a person is like this, they can't be like this. Like the whole thing with disabilities, they're like, we don't care, just whatever, here's the thing so you can do whatever. Or, you're too short or you're too tall, we don't care if you're bald or you have hair, whatever. They do whatever they want because they can, because they're an enlightened race. Whereas clearly on Futurama, people know they're not enlightened. We're not above anybody. We're not better than anything. We're just out there.
I guess in Star Trek, they don't have dream or ads implanted directly into their dreams.
They wouldn't have a need for
That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite, just throwaway lines. What kind of society, what kind of futuristic society would advertise products that not everyone can afford? Fries.
They do make quite a bit of references to the amount of advertising that's in their society. Like it's like we are very used to a lot of advertising right now. Well, at least I am.
Yeah.
Because with billboards everywhere, you open a website somewhere, there's ads on it. There's the clothes.
You even watch broadcast TV, which is
I even watch broadcast TV. I like it. What can I say? I find it interesting.
I'm just saying it's an ad vector.
It is an ad vector.
I didn't mean to put too much shade on it. I'm just saying it's one other place where you encounter a lot of ads.
Yes, it's very true. But yeah, like ads are all around us, and like there's still people out there who complain about product placement in like films and stuff. And yeah, there's product placement is something that can be annoying, but it's also, with the world that we live in, it's unavoidable, because if you take a shot down a street and you don't see a shop sign or a billboard or somebody's clothes that have something on it, you're just like, what year is this? Well, this is just weird. It just doesn't look right, but when you have like movies where they zoom in on like car decals, you're like, that's different. That's just full on. They paid money for this movie to be made. Fine.
Yeah.
That's
also the weird Apple thing about like they get to vet which characters are holding iPhones or whatever is weird. But I
thought it was hilarious that because a whole bunch of people were just like, well, spoiler for every future movie that ever comes out. I was like, all right.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like there's certain products that are so ubiquitous, you should lose the ability to be able to make those kinds of decisions. Like,
agreed.
I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, it's like a phone and a computer are like, anybody could have that. Anybody could buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not like I'm going to think less of Apple because a villain was using a phone that looked like a glass brick. Like all phones look like that. And anyway, that's my little tirade on that. But getting back to Futurama, we were talking about Star Trek. There's a lot of Star Trek references.
So much Star Trek. It made me so happy.
This is probably the easiest one ever for your crossover actors.
Well, one of the sad things that I was prepared for this is that they didn't have the quote unquote Star Trek episode of Futurama in it. The one where they get kidnapped and put on the planet, and like Uhura and Chekhov and all that kind of stuff are there. And I was just like, oh shit, that's not in this one. But they do have the tales of interest where what is it? Nichelle Nichols, Al Gore, and
Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking. And what is Gary Gygax, the inventor of D&D? Yes, are there? And I looked it up. I'm like, that really sounds like it's actually all of them, and it was actually all of them, and it made me so happy.
Totally bizarre.
Yeah,
the Time Action Rangers or whatever they're called.
And I just found it so weird. I'm like, wasn't Al Gore busy during this time? Like, didn't he have more important things to do?
I think he was actively becoming unbusy. I might have my timing mixed up on that. I think it was just before he lost the election, but yeah.
Because in the credits of the show, it says Vice President Al Gore. And I was just like, oh, it's not. Oh, so he was vice president at the time.
Yeah, but also I think sometimes they just like they still refer to it as like President Clinton, right, or whatever. Like,
that's true. They do.
He's not still president, but they just use.
They just do, yeah. But I just still found it hilarious. And then one of my favorite things, which I had never picked up on before, and I don't know why, but when they went to the Poplar Planet.
Yes.
The poplars right at the beginning. And she's just like, ooh, this is a class M planet. They should at least have roddenberries. I was just like, why have I never realized this joke before? It's just stuff like that, which just is, I just love it. I just love all of it. They just shove everything in there, and it's great.
Yeah. Also, when they're trying to explain the dupe, where it's like the United Nations from your time, Fry, and he's like, what? Or the Federation from your Star Trek program. Also, Al Gore makes a bunch of cameos in Futurama. I really like the one where he's like, I have ridden the mighty moon worm, and then it's just fun.
It's great. Well, that's the thing, like, as you said, like, there's so much heavy nerd references throughout the whole show that it's kind of hard to keep up with all of the references, because even like certain episodes are just parodies of movies that they just shove a bunch of other references into. And you're just like, okay, this is fine. I'm okay with all of it. And there are also like references to stuff that you wouldn't really expect. Like, why would you make a Titanic parody? Like, why is that? Why in a show like this would you do that? But at the same time, hilarious.
Also, what was terrifying was because I looked it up, it was semi-topical still. Like, Titanic was still in the popular, like, it was 2000 or something, right? Like, didn't Titanic come out in like 99 or 98?
Well, that season did come out in 99. So
that's what I'm saying. It's like, I was like, oh God, the tiny little Leonardo DiCaprio that they christen the ship, like his head is in a jar and they use it to christen the ship, and he's like this, like, he was the butt of jokes instead of, I don't know, the butt of different jokes for being too serious as an actor now instead of not serious enough. I don't
exactly. Titanic came out in 1997, FYI.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah.
But still,
But the thing that you forget is that Titanic was huge.
Yeah.
Like, it was ridiculous how obsessed people were with this. And so I'm going to tell a Titanic story. I don't know Titanic, so this may never come back around. So I'm going to say it. Mm-hmm. So the first time I saw Titanic in a packed theater, went with my friends, we're sitting there, and we're at the scene where, you know, he's hanging off the door and she's on top and the whole theater sniffling and crying and everything. And I am not a crier at movies. I'm sorry. Like, it was sad and touching and all that kind of stuff. Yes, fine. Okay. So we're watching. And this girl sitting next to me, I don't know who she was. She was with her friends and she is sobbing. And she's got like a big box of like tissue paper, and she's like dabbing her eyes, like, oh my God, you know. And all of a sudden, when Rose lets his hand go, she takes a tissue and she's like, "Oh, Leo." And I started laughing my ass off. Okay. I started laughing so hard. And that woman has ruined the Titanic for me because people are just like, "Oh, it's such a heart-wrenching moment." Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, it's not. Because all I can think of is, "Oh, Leo." Every time anybody mentions that scene in the movie. So to me, Titanic is ridiculous. But to everybody else, Titanic is like a heart-wrenching thing. And my friend, like, we went back with my friends to go see it a second time.
Okay.
Just to, like, you know, you're like, no, like, you gotta get into the emotion. And that scene came up again. The girl wasn't there, but I still laughed.
Still
and
there.
I felt so bad about it.
There we go.
Now, my friend went on to watch that movie, 9 times in theater. She bought like the VHS and the DVD and all kinds of nonsense. She was really upset.
It was so long, yet it had to be on 2 VHSs.
Yes, it did. That's true. Yeah. And like, it was crazy. Like, and people were seeing that movie in the theater like 30 times and crap. Like, I was just like, you people are crazy. I don't care how much I like something. I'm not going to see the same movie 30 times in the theater. That's just nuts. But yes, that's my Titanic story.
Biggest grossing movie for a hell of a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, until he beat himself with Avatar, isn't it?
Yep, I think so.
Yeah. It's nuts. But yeah, he's definitely James Cameron has definitely had a great film career. I don't know why they're trying to bring back more Avatar. Like, to me, it's just too late. Like, just
what's really shocking is that, like, just thinking now, like, we're talking about the cultural impact of Titanic, the movie, where like you're still telling this story 24 years later. You remember where you were when Leo first fell off the door, right? Like all that stuff. We're talking about like the ripples it made in popular culture of like Futurama and stuff like that. And like, yeah, there was a lot of Avatar parodies, but like I feel like it was just like it just bounced off popular culture. Like I don't.
Nobody really makes a like reference to Avatar unless they're making fun of it in some way.
Yeah,
like it's like like there's parodies where they've made reference to it, but nobody seriously was just like, "Oh, an influence for me was Avatar."
Yeah,
nobody says that.
Yeah, it became a dead horse very quickly in terms of the beating of it. Like,
because I think the thing that was the draw for the first movie, Avatar in general, was just the technology used to make it. And it was the first successful 3D movie, right? And people are just like, "Oh, did you see that scene? Blah 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 blah." I'm like, really? There's one scene in the movie where the 3D makes an impact, and the rest of it, you're just like, "This is Fern Gully in space. Like, can we just?"
But also the weird facial capture stuff, like
mocap.
The mocap stuff. I thought but anyway, I think you're absolutely right that because it was like anything that's just reliant on its technology to set it apart, it gets dated very quickly. Because it was if you read about the production of Titanic, like there's some crazy technology and crazy just research and all sorts of stuff, technical feats, let's just call do that movie, but it that wasn't the only thing it was hanging its hat on. And at the core, there was this sad story that apparently didn't touch your heart of stone because it was ruined for you.
I'm sorry. I don't know who this woman is, but you ruined Titanic for me. What is your problem?
Yes. Anyway, this has been the Titanic episode of Off.
We'll see you next week. No.
Yeah.
Well, back to Futurama.
Yes.
There is, I don't know, my thing, especially when it comes to series, it's very hard for me to take notes and be like, here are my notes for it, because I just like, I watched the first episode, lots of notes. Second episode, less notes. Third episode, one line. Fourth episode, and then it's just like episode titles in my notes. And I'm just like,
and then just the quotes that I keep quoting and quoting again. One of my most used Futurama quotes came up in this series of episodes, which is in War is the H Word, where they're fighting against the ball aliens, and at the end, Henry Kissinger's head in a jar is trying to negotiate peace, and Bender is like totally doing, like, saying horrible things, and then Henry Kissinger, just as an aside, is like, this is not a productive area of discussion. It's just like, I low-key say that, like, in work meetings and stuff, like, it'll just be like,
you're lucky you don't have any other Futurama fans in the room with you, because people would just start laughing. Yes, you would definitely be outed. I have to. One thing I have realized, I think Kif is my favorite character. I fucking love Kif. I'm sorry.
So good.
Okay, so I didn't realize Zap Brannigan was introduced this early in the show. I don't know why I thought it was
episode
later.
4.
Episode 4. And I have to admit, I laughed at that whole episode. I loved every minute of it, from the velour suits to the champagne to the what did you say? Erotic thing on the roof. I love every minute of it. And every time Kif groans, he's like, ugh. It's like twice a minute he groans, and it's every single time, and including every time he comes back after. He's the greatest.
When he has to climb up the ladder behind Zap Brannigan and Beth's not wearing any pants. It's just like, man.
I love Kif. Kif is great.
So Kif, Zap Brannigan, and Nibbler are all introduced in that episode, which is, unless you count the Nibbler shadow in the pilot. But
is the Nibbler shadow actually in the pilot?
Yep.
No.
It's there. Yeah, it totally is.
And I was looking at it too. I'm like, is it there? I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay. I mean, that's a call from a much later episode. But yeah, I loved it when they did that though. Like, there was a reason for him to be there. Great.
Yeah, the weird, like, nods to continuity was just something that, like, was mind blowing to me at the time. Like, obviously there were shows that had continuity, but the idea that would be mixed in with, like, this Simpsons Goofy style cartoon, that it had lore, I was like, what?
Yeah, I mean, I think the people who made this show they're just deep thinkers, and they're just like, we are creating this world, and we're gonna do the long game. I have a feeling that's one of the reasons why Nibbler is shaped so weird, is maybe they're like, we're gonna draw a weird shadow and we'll figure it out later. And they're just like, let's make it that shape. Good to go.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. That episode's really good. But okay. So I'm going to use this as an opportunity to talk about my favorite. Like, I don't even think this was intentional on the writer's part, but it is very silly in terms of the continuity of the thing. So probably a lot of people know that Fry at one point goes back in time and becomes his own grandfather, right? So before that, in the episode we were talking about before, with the Slurms episode, he gets shot with the F-ray, and then he's like, ow, my sperm. And then he gets shot again, and he's like, oh, it didn't hurt that time for some reason. So in between those two episodes, there is the episode where Fry gets the worms from the truck stop sandwich, and the worms fix up all areas of his body. And in that episode, you see Dr. Zoidberg come riding in on a sperm cell. So it suggests that the damage caused by the F-ray was reversed, which allowed him to re-fertilize himself, not fertilize himself, but become fertile once again, and then therefore go back in time and become his own grandfather. Continuity. Oh my God! Yes. Anyway. Oh, amazing.
I never thought about it that way. Okay,
Thank you for letting me go on that rant.
Sense. I love the fact that you're just like, well, my favorite thing in the show is this thing.
I like it because I don't think it's intentional. I think it's just like these tiny little data points that if you watch the show obsessively for too long, you start noticing, and you're like, I wonder if they ever call back to the fact that they shot him with that F-ray. They do.
I just want to say they made one continuity error in the show.
I think they made tons, but what's the one you're thinking of?
Well, the one that I picked up on most recently was the fact that, so there's a whole episode where it's the last can of sardines and they eat them and then they're gone forever. But on the episode where they go to the deep south, to the lost city of Atlanta, there's chum buckets at the top and there's a bucket of sardines that Zoidberg eats.
Whoa.
Just like, what?
There we go. Extinct. Yeah, they're synthetic sardine.
There you go. I did it. On them, Futurama. Down you go.
Yeah. So one of the ones I always think of is the way they treat Star Trek, because there's that one episode later where they bring like the whole original Star Trek cast in, except whatever, and they say that there was like you're not allowed to mention Star Trek there because of the Star Trek Wars as opposed to the Star Wars Trek, which was the great migration of Star Wars fans. But they say that like it's forbidden words, like you're not allowed to say them. But they've obviously throughout the series have mentioned Star Trek a whole bunch of times, including how to make Fry understand how the dupe works. But anyway, so they just retcon that. They're like, actually, nobody has ever mentioned Star Trek before.
Or maybe they're just like, can we stop with the Star Trek? We know you like Star Trek, but that's too much Star Trek. Let's cut it out.
Yeah. Or there's the other one where and again, this is I think going into volume 4, but where Bender becomes like an environmentalist because he sees a turtle stuck on his back, and then he says like his only vulnerability is that he can't get off his back if he's like stuck on it like a turtle. And they're like, what are you talking about? We've seen you get up off your back millions of times. All of those times I was slightly on my side. They just move on, like they retcon this whole thing. Just be like, every other time you see this happen, it was slightly different. It was very
kind of on an angle.
Wizard did it.
Fine.
Yeah. It's very, very a wizard did it kind of thing.
We're gonna skip over all of that.
Which is totally fine. Like I love that they're just like, it's because it's funnier in this episode for this to be a thing, so we're just gonna go with it. Like,
well, I mean, when you think about it, with cartoons, they're allowed to get away with that, right? Like,
for sure,
you're allowed to. Like, even if you think about The Simpsons, over 32 years, there is so much history to that family that makes absolutely no sense. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
Okay, so and you just like,
where is the room where during the storm Bart and Milhouse, you can see them fighting in the treehouse. That room's never seen again. They've got a second TV. Come on. Sorry.
Actually, I have to find that video. There is a video that talks about it, the positioning of the room and the layout of the house. And the room, technically, inside the room is seen twice on the show. The door to the room is seen in the
deep
hallway on and off. Because you also rarely see like down that hallway, because you see the side where it's the door to the garage, but like the other way. I watched this whole video about it. That was amazing. I would have to go back and find it, but I loved it.
Yeah. I'm saying
got into this like It's a thing called, I think it's just called like Simpsons Mysteries or something.
Oh,
And
okay.
I watched like 10 of the videos back to back, and I was like, this is fascinating. It's so true. It's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very cool. I'm just saying the stakes for them pawning their TV so that they could have family therapy with Dr. Marvin Monroe uh, has a lot lower stakes if they've got some other room with another TV in the back.
That is very true.
Ah,
That is very true.
sorry.
Flips tables. You lied to me all
Exactly.
these years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but wasn't this? But this was years after the whole Marvin Monroe incident.
Oh,
So
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
they could have just afforded another TV.
Yeah, season 1 was a very different.
It was a very
different. He got his job as the safety inspector in between, so maybe he got an upgrade. Maybe they'd renovated the house. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, exactly. So there's lots of room for speculation in there.
Exactly.
Yes. Oh, Simpsons theories. There's too much to go in there. Also, I can't do any theories past like season 10 because no.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. Though I will say and I'll admit here to all the listeners that I actually like the 90s episode, that 90s episode of The Simpsons. I don't care. It's funny. I love all the like parody songs. I love the Weird Al cameos. Good. He who is tired of Weird Al is tired of life. I don't care that it retcons a lot of family lore. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Just accept it. Just accept it for what it is. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, The Simpsons is here until the 35th season, I think now.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just keep renewing it. Mm-hmm. There was legitimately a time in my life where I'm like, I could never see my life without The Simpsons. And I'm like, I'm living that life right now and I'm okay with it. Yeah. So it's very, they're just grinding it into the ground is what the problem is. And they just need to stop. Like there's a certain point where you just let it go. Just leave it.
Yeah, I guess.
That's all I'm saying.
Whatever. I don't know. Yeah.
I guess it still makes enough money. So it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to happier topics. Futurama.
Yeah. Oh man.
I must admit, I do love all my circuits and all the stuff with Calculon.
Yes.
Love it. Every time there's like a shot of the show or whatever. I just think it's the greatest thing ever. I think this is the McBain version is this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love the how it's like central to the plot of them looking for a like an apartment together, where there's the B plot is them trying to watch all my circuits, and then like his antenna gets in the way of it, and like this show is so important to people that like also, like, even that's just like a throwback where, like, can you imagine? I mean, Game of Thrones, I guess, would be the closest thing recently to like people who actually like watch something as it came out.
Yes. Like, oh yeah. No, people were murdering each other. I have to be home at 9:00 on Sunday to watch this, and if anybody ruins anything, I will murder all of you.
Yeah, but now like post, like especially pandemic style, like. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, like whatever. Everybody's watching Queen's Gambit or whatever, but like they're all still watching it on their own time. Like it's not like we're having a watch party and we're getting all together and we're gonna watch it as it airs.
Well, because we're in a pandemic, you're not allowed to do that.
No, but also nobody watches stuff while it airs, even when it, you know.
Well, that's what the thing is too. Is I find all of the quote unquote good TV. Is coming on streaming services, not coming on television, if you know what I mean, right? And when it is coming on television, it's like online, they're putting all of the episodes. On TV, it's an episode a week. So you're like, why do I have to wait, 10 weeks to watch this show when I can just go online and watch it in like a day or 2 days? Right. And a lot of people are doing that. Whereas I kind of like the suspense in between episodes because like they're doing that right now with a WandaVision and The Expanse. Mm-hmm. And I like
Mandalorian went that way too, right?
Yes, Mandalorian did that as Well, and honestly, I like the waiting in between and the speculating what's going to happen. And, I don't have anybody to chat with about these shows that much, which is sad. But at the same time, I'm like, I like sitting there going, oh my God, I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder if she's alive still. I wonder if, and then having it play out in front of me.
I think I agree with a lot of what you said, except for one point I have to nitpick, which is you don't have a lot of people to talk about this, because having been privy to a lot of your conversations about Star Trek as it was airing episode, I feel like I have a episode by episode view of your opinions of that show. So I feel, and I was not participating. I was just like, around while it was happening. Like, you do have some people to talk to, and since a lot of those opinions might have been negative, I feel like that contributes to like who is willing to engage with you on some of
I mean, especially with Discovery, I talked at people a lot because I just had to get it out. I'm like, I need to yell about this, and it's making me angry. And we were just like, so would you watch this? I watched Discovery and then went on for an hour.
I have this opinion about it.
and then I'd suddenly be like, okay, that's it. Everything's fine. And I'm like, okay. Anyways.
I guess I better not call her up after the next episode of Mandalorian until somebody else jumps on that grenade.
So true. Oh my God, yes. I'm sorry that I put you through that.
You know what?
I talked at, I am sorry.
That was the level of engagement I wanted with that show. Eventually, I discovered that I was just like, I could watch it and it's all right, whatever, or I could just get these play-by-play updates, and there's a lot more emotional investment in it this way.
Yes. I don't know, man. Okay, I'm not gonna start talking about Discovery. No, I'm gonna just gloss over it. It's fine.
Yeah.
But definitely like The Expanse. I have not bitched about it because I love it so much and I want other people to watch it to experience it before I talk about it. So I'm leaving that there. And WandaVision is kind of the same thing. My problem with WandaVision, though, like despite reading lots of Marvel and stuff growing up and now, I don't really know that much about like Scarlet Witch and Vision and that world, but I know it in connection to the films that came before it. So there's a lot of intertwining things and what's going on and speculation of like who the real bad guy is and all this kind of stuff. So also that's a thing, like, have you watched all the movies? Have you watched all the episodes?
Yeah.
Now we can discuss, because there's lots of like layers to that discussion. So but in between episodes, I am thoroughly enjoying the break in between and like the mind working. It's like I'm having water cooler chats with myself.
That's cool.
That makes me sound crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I mean, whatever. We're all getting through this pandemic together, like on our own, I guess, instead of together. But we're gonna find our own ways. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
I mean, I am a sucker for like the binging. And so like even with WandaVision, I'll probably end up watching it, but I probably won't until the whole season is released. But what I like about it, which was really frustrating about a lot of those shows that dropped a season all at once, is less about the like forced pacing of it, but more that the show needs to be written such that it makes you want to come back in between. Whereas like if you drop a whole season at once, like a lot of those shows like have really like dry, boring bits in the middle of the season because they know you're just going to keep clicking or whatever. Because as long as instead of like Walking Dead was like infamous for having like something really big happening right at the beginning of the episode and then a bunch of boring stuff in the episode, and then at least there was something to pique your interest at the end of the episode. But like sometimes they would structure whole seasons like that, where like the first two episodes were like really interesting and then a bunch of boring stuff, and then like just enough to make the wrap up feel like you watch something valuable, but like, 13 episodes have passed or something. So I like that if they're releasing it 1 week at a time, they have to make each episode a complete story, or at least a complete enough story that it makes you interested for its own sake instead of just being some filler.
Yeah, and that's the thing about like Mandalorian did that this season. WandaVision and The Expanse are doing that as well, where it goes more to classic storytelling, like TV storytelling, than the modern binge storytelling, where every episode has like an interesting beginning, a middle, and like an interesting end. Like, so it's all encompassed, but it's enough it gives you enough in there that you're just like, it's moved the story along. It gives you some answers, you still have some questions, but at the end of the episode, you're just like, holy shit. Wait, what do you mean the episode is over? And then you're just like, then you got to like wait a week till the next episode. But I like that part of it. I like that anticipation, which you don't get anymore with a lot of these binge shows, because I'm notorious for not binging things because I get bored. And like, even with Futurama watching this season, like I had to watch like 15 episodes yesterday, and I love the show, but 5 episodes in, I realized I was completely distracted. Like, I don't want to watch this anymore, because it's just like, it's the same thing over and over and over again. It's not that it's bad. I just get disinterested after a while, and I need to distract myself with something else and then go back into it.
Yeah. Well, and Futurama was definitely like never, like, especially these early seasons was never intended to be like watched that way. I mean, I think it does work. Like, I can watch 5 episodes in a row happily, but 15 is a lot. Yeah. But yeah, it's a little too punchy almost, because like the whole thing was it was supposed to be like a little bit of an event, because you're watching it Sunday night, like the new episode of Futurama is coming on in that block of cartoons, and then it's like, and then you watch that one episode, and it needs to be memorable in the 22 minutes, and then have memorable things happen, and then it's supposed to be over, and then you keep remembering it for
the week.
Whereas if you watch like 10 episodes that are intended to be mini events in a row, then like you get numbed to that, like, I don't know. So I totally sympathize with the inability to like binge that much, but yeah.
Yeah, and that happens to me with like even quote unquote binging shows, like Queen's Gambit, for example. I loved the show. I thought it was great, but I could watch like maybe 2 episodes at a time. And it was a combination of the length of the episodes, the pacing, the type of show it was. And like, I loved it, but at the end of the second episode, I'm like, that's enough, go do something else. And even it took weeks, but my friends finally talked me into watching Bridgerton. I don't understand why people like it so much. It is, I knew it was fluff, but shit, man, like, come on, be obsessed with something better. Is all I ask for. And I saw the infamous episode 6, and that was the only reason why I went back to finish watching it, because I watched the first 3 episodes and was like, why do people like this?
All I know is the premise of the show. I haven't seen anything. I didn't know that episode 6 was infamous. Okay.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't know that either, but I was watching Cohen, and the main girl was on, and they were talking about this episode 6, and I was like, what the fuck is it? What? They're like, oh, it's the infamous episode 6. And I was like, well, now I got to go back and watch it just for episode 6. And I did, and I was like, oh, that's it? Oh, okay.
All right.
And
it worked on you, though. Clearly, their media spot.
Yeah, it did work.
Conan is still on TV, anyway.
It is on TV, and he's doing pretty good. His hair is crazy. It's
all right. Yeah.
Just as his head in the jar on the show.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that reminds me. Can we talk about the heads in jars? Can we talk about this?
Yes. Right. It's so ubiquitous to the show, but that was like a novelty that this is how they're going to get around all their celebrity guests.
Yeah.
It's like they just have this heads in jars. But yeah, right. It's so ingrained into the show and the setting that like I forget that it's a crazy thing that they have heads in jars.
I mean, I don't expect this show to overly explain how the heads in the jars work. Okay.
Yes.
But at
Ron
the same
Popeil
time,
invented the technology.
Yeah, but how does this work? Also, you have people in jars, like all of the American presidents, for example.
Yep.
It goes back to like whenever that date is. I'm not American, I don't know. And I'm just like, but they would have already been dead 1,000 years before this technology existed. So is it a cloned head? Like, what is happening here?
I mean,
like, it's just...
I'm not
confusing.
I'm not a big American history person, but I have watched Hamilton, so I'm pretty sure it's 1776.
Thank you, Hamilton, for educating us.
I think that's entirely true, that they have to have had cloned these people at some point that have died in between the invention of head technology and future, when in the year 3000. So like at some point they cloned every human president or every American president, and
including a lot of celebrities and and notorious criminals for some reason.
Yes.
Like,
including all the presidential losers for some reason. And then what they did after having done this incredible feat of bringing back all of these historical figures was to chop their heads off and preserve them in jars and then put them into a closet and then forget about them.
And they feed them like fish. They just like put little fish in there and they're like, ooh. My favorite thing though, one of my favorite things is the whole Beastie Boys concert at the Robot Hell episode.
Yep. Old, very incredibly old school beats.
Yes. But I liked their interpretation about how a Beastie Boys concert would be. Like the dudes in black, their heads going around. Yes. They still have the same like wall-eye camera on their videos. And I was like, what? This is amazing.
Yeah. Whatever I don't know if it's kabuki or whatever. Yeah, the stagehands in there.
Yeah. I mean, imagine like sitting in a room, not even just writing the episode, but coming up with the design of like, okay, so they're at a Beastie Boys concert, but how are they just sitting there, jars and heads on like stools, which happens at the end when they're doing the acoustic version of Sabotage, but like when they're doing like the beats, what is happening, like, they're just like, I don't know what could happen, just crazy lights or something. What if we have them like moving around? Like, that's such a crazy conversation to have and then to animate after that. Like, that's nuts.
I think absolutely that is totally bonkers. But now imagine, okay, the writer's room has come up with this idea. They're laughing their asses off. They're like, we're going to do this thing, whatever. It's going to be great. And then they look at the showrunner and it's like, now you have to go pitch that to the actual Beastie Boys. Get them on board. Like, okay, so there's this show that I don't even know if it's aired yet. It's about the future. And, we want you to be in our future show where you're going to be doing a concert. And one of the jokes is you don't put many albums out.
This is the 9th episode of the show, which would have had to have been animated before they even put out the first episode.
Yeah.
Which I think is hilarious. And honestly, based on interviews from the Beastie Boys and stuff, they'd be totally down for something like this. They'd be fine.
Yeah.
They'd be like, that sounds weird. Let's do it.
Look,
whereas I think going to
we're down.
What?
We're like, we got Leonard Nimoy on board already, and they're like, oh, we're down.
But I mean, think about the discussion when you know, the tale of interest, and you're just like, oh, let's go talk to Al Gore and see if he wants to do a voice. How, like, the show has already been on air. Yes, I agree. But at the same time, so what you're telling me is I've got to come on and try to kill a man because he's going to tear a hole in the space continuum. And I get to do this with Stephen Hawking?
Yep.
What? Like, that is just so weird.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh man.
There's just so much stuff in this show that is great.
Yeah. The heads in jars, totally bizarre.
Yeah.
Like,
I love how evil Nixon is.
Yes.
Like, it's good. It's really good.
Go into people's houses at night and wreck up the place.
I like the fact later seasons he comes back as like he becomes like a regular evil bad guy in like the overall show. Yeah, which I love. Like, they just keep bringing him back in like small bits in these early episodes. Yeah, he wins the, what is it?
Another piece of continuity is that just before a few episodes before they have the presidential election episode between Jack Johnson and John Jackson, and then this third Nixon runner, is in the Ally MacNeille single female lawyer episode. They have a different Earth president called MacNeille who gets disintegrated, so that's why they need a new president. That's why they need to hold an election. Boom. Continuity. They make it work, man. They make it work. I love it. Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, one of my favorite episodes is when President Nixon gives away the tax credit, the $300, and they like all have different bizarre stories, and Fry just drinks 100 cups of coffee. Yeah. He just walked around jittering the whole time. He's like, what? Yeah. Oh, love it. Oh, there's so much. Yeah. I don't even know what else to reference. Like, let's just see. I'm just taking a look at the list of episodes just from there's two seasons or two volumes. Any one of the other ones that I want to really? I do like Gunter from Mars University. Yeah. They fully represent the term ass hat in the episode, and I love it. The hat goes on your head. Yes. Yeah. When aliens attack, that's the first episode that you see Lur from Omicron Persei, which is great. And also a strange reference to Ally McBeal, which I just think is such an odd reference to put in there, but I guess it was still such a probably topical thing, at the time, which is great. Mother's Day. Definitely. Oh, Mother's Day. Yes. Yeah. And the whole, I mean, they introduced Mother before that, but just like that one episode where the two geriatric that have like crazy sex, and it's like, oh, there's nothing in this room except two elephant skin rugs. Oh God. And then just all of mom's like crazy swearing like diatribes, like just stupid robots make me sick to my ass. I love how manically like evil she is. Yes. Like her outward persona is just like this like fat loving mother, and she's got like her little apron on. She's like, everybody so loves good. Me. And you know, she takes it off. She's like Cruella de Vil, skinny and twisted, and with this like deep
smoker's voice, and you're just it's so good.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of like the way she treats her kids is a little bit like how I enjoy all the jokes about how Trump treats his sons. Like they're just like constant berating and abuse, like berating and abuse. But and yeah, there's that whole concept of her and her running like mom's friendly robot company, like that the robot manufacturing business is such an old and hokey thing that like it's got this like veneer of like it's an old, good old family values, robot construction. But okay, obviously, so Tress MacNeille, Dot Warner, among other things, is the voice of Mom, and like so many characters on this show, and she does so much work. She like her newscaster opposite Morbo is always funny.
The laugh is always like
exactly.
Always gets me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh man, she's just incredible. And all of the voices, like pretty much any female voice that's not like Leela or Amy is like her, and it's incredible.
Even like Billy West, like he does all of the characters for some reason. Like it's just crazy. Like he does Fry and Farnsworth and Zoidberg. He does Smitty that just comes out of nowhere. I love the fact like when he shows up too, people are like, who are you? I've never seen you before. Like, I'm Smitty, I'm the janitor. And they're just like, oh, okay. That's it. You're just like, okay, now there's a Smitty for no reason. And like Billy West is just great. He does all these crazy characters. And
he chose to use his own ish voice. Like he's so crazy talented as a voice actor, but he ended up using his what's close to his own natural voice for Fry. Is like he put a lot of himself into that show. And it was supposed to be I think at least they had originally had Zapp Brannigan. They were going to do it with Phil Hartman, but he died before the show started. But so then, like, instead they just, I don't know, Billy West, can you also do this? Like, can you just carry the whole show?
Yeah, like I find the thing with Billy West though is that you can't, like, each voice is extremely distinct.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Whereas I find, like, despite the fact that I think Phil LaMarr is amazing at his voice acting, once you know Phil LaMarr does the voice, you can hear a through line through all the voices.
Oh yeah,
I mean, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I find like Billy West, you're just like, that's the same guy. That's not the same guy. That can't be the same guy. That's crazy. You know?
Yeah. Who also does Bugs Bunny and Stimpy.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, he does a whole bunch of like iconic characters, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Phil LaMarr, I think he is amazing because he does Hermes most often, but he does a whole bunch of like all the fake advertisements that come in the beginning of episodes. He does voices for that. He does like a whole bunch of like random. He does the priest bot. What's that priest bot called?
Oh yeah, I think it's just called Preacher Bot.
Preacher Bot. That's it. Yeah. Okay.
Or Preacher Bot 3000 or something. Yeah, like there might be a number. Like.
Yeah, they gave up on trying to name them. They're just like, you do this thing, that's your name.
That's why it's so. Yeah, like I mean, their main character's name is Bender, right?
Yeah. He's like, Bender, what do you do? I bend girders.
Yeah.
I like.
Do I preach to you when you're lying stoned in the gutter? No. Sorry, that's one of my favorite quotes.
One of my favorite things about Bender is when he loses his brain and all he keeps saying is, I am Bender, please insert girder.
Yep.
And then they incorporate it into like the reggae song at the end, and it fits perfectly.
The song, it's incredible. They hit that joke so many times, and then you're like, oh, okay, it's getting a little bit old. They're like, nope, it works perfectly in the song. That's one of the classic episodes is Hermes, right, who positions his groove back. Like, oh man.
I love it. Everything about it is fantastic. I will admit this. One of my favorite lines from the show is my manwich.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I still laugh every time. And it's said twice in the show. Yep. You know, when he loses it and when he gets it back.
It looks delicious.
It does look delicious.
Jamaican. I thought you were some kind of outer space potato man. Fry is so dumb.
Fry
so
is
often.
So dumb.
It's really good. Yep.
But the thing is with Fry, though, like, Fry is very much, I know, like, he's kind of the mentality of Homer Simpson, where they're very stupid people, and they're kind of assholes to the women in their lives, but their hearts are always in the right place, so you kind of, like, give them the quote-unquote benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I like you. I don't know why, but you're okay. Why are you like this? You're such a dick. Like, especially the episode with him and Amy, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like sewed onto her, and then he still breaks up with her.
Yeah.
And he breaks up with her for like no reason whatsoever. And you're just like, what are you doing? This is not necessary.
What I like about that episode is Amy's just like, oh, all right, that's cool. Like is totally over it very quickly. She was like literally like, I like that both. She was like, oh, I thought we were having fun. Weren't we having fun? This was a fun relationship that we were, just having fun. But she's like, oh, well, I guess if it's over, like, I don't want to drag it out. See ya. I'm going to make a date. And,
it's not like a lot of shows around that time would have probably been like, should have been like crying all the time, or, like, oh my God, why are you doing this or something? And she's like, meh.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I was having fun, but if it's not doing it for you, like,
I'm out.
That's fine. Like, yeah. I thought that was it was just a neat little thing to that.
But it also kind of like shows like Fry's aspect, where you're just like, you're a dick.
Yeah, entirely.
No wonder nobody likes you and your girlfriend treats you like crap, because you're kind of an ass. But then the girlfriend comes back and the girlfriend's horrible, so then you feel kind of like, wait, who am I supposed to be rooting for with this? Like, this is weird.
Yeah. I put your stuff out on the sidewalk. It's just, that is something I really like. While the pacing is very different in the first episode, some of it is just, I find the humor a lot drier because there's a lot fewer, like you watch the episode and there's like a lot fewer sound effects, a lot fewer like musical stings and stuff like that. So like, there's a lot more jokes that are just like very dry. They're just like, the scene ends and there's no like, I don't know, like waka waka, or like even just like a
flourish to it.
Like one of my favorite things is where like Fry's like having this emotional thing. He's breaking down. He's like, oh, I don't know anybody. Like, I'm all alone in this future. And then Bender's like, there's somebody you know. And then it just cuts to Leela, like clearly some like just an expectation that's immediately dashed. And like he's like, oh God, but there's like no audio during that thing. Not it's just like, and it's just left there as a joke, and then the chase of the rest of the episode continues. But like, anyway, I left your stuff out on the sidewalk, and just that whole montage of like, we have 2 minutes to show that everything in his life is horrible. It's just like, I find it really funny. Like, it's just like the guy who steals his bike wishing him a happy new year. Like, it's just I don't know. I really like it.
Yeah. And I think that build up in that episode too allows you better to understand why he adapts easily to the year 2000 and why when the girlfriend comes back, Michelle, I want to say her name is, is just like because she actually says it in the episode. It's like, my life was awesome. This is weird and strange.
Yeah.
Whereas his life was shit. And he was like, anything's better than this. So accepting all of the stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
And so we're talking about bouncing back between his life in 2000 and life in 3000. Does that mean we have to talk about that episode, the infamous episode? The infamous episode with Jurassic Park with his dog.
Oh yeah, that wasn't in the set. That would just break my heart.
Anyway.
No, like that. Like the thing about. I don't even know where to start with this because that episode breaks
sadder than Titanic
heart.
Because Titanic doesn't break your Titanic doesn't break your heart, but that dog does. You care more about
I care more about that dog
than a fictional Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, it's true. It's really, really true. Because I remember the first time I saw the episode, I was just like, I loved him. What the fuck? Like, why are you doing this to me? You know, it's like watching the first 10 minutes of Up over and over and over again. Why are you trying to destroy souls? It's not necessary. Don't do it. But yeah, it kind of just stays with you because it's just so poignant and, you know, just builds on.
Just gets the knife right in there and then twists.
Exactly. You know, I think it's really great that the episode focuses on a character that is not a main character on the show. And then it just kind of brings in the fact that Fry left behind everyone and everything he knew. And up until that point, he was under the impression that nobody cared about him. Nobody missed him. He disappeared and it was fine. And then you find out that his one connection waited for him every single day until he died. And you're just like, he was missed, you know? And
there was one ray of sunlight in that horrible, horrible life that he was leading.
Yeah. And I think the thing is that it connects with people because even a person in like the saddest, darkest place will start to look at their life and be like, maybe there is somebody who will miss me or somebody's life I affected enough to that maybe they won't stay outside of a pizza shop and die for me, but they'll think about me and they'll remember me. And that's always like a good thing. It makes you feel less pointless, you know? Yeah. So stop making us feel things, writers. This is comedy.
Anyway, everybody should watch that episode again and just have a big old cry.
Yeah. Oh my God.
The song at the end.
Yeah.
It even says, wait for 1,000 summers. Yeah. If it takes 1,000 summers, I will wait for you is a literal lyric in this song that they found. It's crazy.
See, now I'm going to have to go find this show and just to watch that one episode.
Yeah.
I need to do it. Yeah.
He was able to sing Walking on Sunshine. He was able to bark it, which we know is one of Fry's favorite songs because he sings it while he is washing Zap Brannigan in the shower.
No, he's washing Kif.
Oh, he's washing Kif, right?
Kif, yes. Kif is washing Zap Brannigan.
Yeah. And being washed because there's this weird pecking order in that episode where up until that point, Kif has been totally abused by Zap Brannigan, and we start sympathizing for him, and then we see the second Kif gets a modicum of power, he becomes like this cycle of abuse perpetuating monster and just rains it down on Fry.
Exactly. It was like, I was feeling so sorry for you all the time, Kif. No, you're awful.
These mixed nuts. I see two almonds touching.
Again, Kif is my favorite.
Yep.
And also that episode is a mix between Starship Troopers and MASH, which I thought was a great mix together. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. One other thing I want to do. So the episode The Honking, which I have to admit was, despite being okay, was kind of the worst episode out of these 2 discs.
Not great. Yeah.
Like
Qbert, really, I think, is probably up there. I'm not a fan of Qbert, but that's the whatever the clone's name is. The clone.
Yeah. It's Qbert. Yeah.
I just, because they're both named Farnsworth. Yeah. But I think it's probably one of the weaker episodes. Okay.
But the one joke that did get me was, we're going back to Calculon again, where he's talking about how he's actually like 1,000 years old, not 27. And he's like, every few years I transform myself and I've been the greatest robot actors in history. And he names off like Acting Bot 3000 and whatever. And also David Duchovny.
Yeah. Oh man, right. That reminds me of another. We were talking before about the crazy robots designed for things. In the All My Circuits movie, the opening credits are hilarious for some reason.
Oh
for me.
Yes, they are.
It's like written by Writing Bot 27 and based on original characters by Original Character Bot like 45. Yeah. And then one of the it might have been the writers or directors where it's like written by WriterBot 27, WriterBot 45, and then just like a regular name. He's like, it's just like all these robots. Just, I don't know. Yeah.
He was the token human to get Oscar consideration or something.
Of course, you got to get diversity in the writers' room, otherwise you get tunnel vision.
Exactly.
Like, telling the same jokes, it's no good. Yeah.
I love visual jokes like that where they're just like, here's the thing. Yeah. Run. If you see it, fine. If you don't, it doesn't change anything. Everything's good.
Yeah. The reason they have to have a human in the writers' room is because there's a human character in All My Circuits. He does all the human things. He laughs, he loves, he learns.
Oh yeah, okay.
And if they didn't have any human in the writers' room, they'd end up it going off the way that Fear of a Bot Planet movie went, where it's they can't remember if humans can breathe fire, and the human was ironically impervious to all of their most powerful magnetic fields, but succumbed to a harmless sharpened stick. Behold my system of might. It's that kind of if you lose human representation in the writers' room, you really start putting you get to
things in there.
Yeah, exactly. You need multiple perspectives in order to tell jokes to a wide variety of a broad audience.
See, this show was so advanced. Yeah. Like right there,
Yeah.
Can't go wrong. Love it.
Yeah. That was 3 different episodes we had to tie in together to make one big joke.
Oh my God. I don't know. I feel like we could just go through the whole day just randomly picking references. There was this thing, and then there was this thing.
I think we should wrap before I just start. Like I cease to put context around my quotes and I just start spouting them like randomly. So I think you should probably put an end to this for my own good and your listeners' good.
Probably because you'll be here for a while. So I'm not gonna assume. What are your final thoughts on Futurama?
I really loved my rewatch of it. There's been a lot of shows that have probably knocked it off as my favorite cartoon. It was that for a little while, but I feel like the new the whole Bob's Burgers thing has really reinvigorated the kind of episodic cartoon thing, which I wasn't sure was going to come back. At least for me, that was the thing. But man, it is just so funny, and the way that it played around with storytelling tropes and stayed kind of character driven means that it didn't date itself as much as it could have. Obviously some of the pop culture references do, but man, so much of it is still so funny.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Rewatching this, I was nervous is a strong word. And after I watched the first episode, I was just like, oh yeah, this is not going to age well. And then the second episode started, I'm like, yes, it did. It's great. Yeah, it's definitely reminded me how good this show is. And I don't understand why Fox treated it so badly. But whatever. It's a great show, and especially the first, I think it's 4 seasons were amazing. And based on my rewatch of these 2 and a little bit seasons, fantastic. I have to admit, Venture Brothers is still above this, I think. Up there.
I feel like that's not even like they're competing in different categories for me, but yeah. Like Venture Brothers is like a work of art. It's not a Sunday night cartoony thing.
Wait, did you pre-sign up for that episode that's coming like 5 years from now?
What? No, I thought it was done.
What? Oh no, the episode of the podcast.
oh, sorry. I was like, there's more Venture Brothers coming.
You wish. I do wish, but yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't know if I've scrolled all the way to. I don't know if did you fill in your schedule all the way through to the V's? Because if so,
no, it's just on the list of films.
All right, I'm going to put my name right down there.
All right. Yeah, so you can definitely come back for that because we could. I think that's gonna have to be like a multi-episode like podcast for that one because there is way too much per episode per season of that show for it to just be like one episode. Like that's just craziness. Okay,
here let me pitch you something right now because it's near the end of the. I don't know how many DVDs you have after the Venture Brothers.
I surprisingly have quite a bit.
Okay, well then, all the X-Files, of course. Never mind.
Yes.
But I was going to say, spin-off or miniseries.
Oh, see, I was thinking of doing that with the X-Files because X-Files is at the end.
Yep.
But that is true. We could do that. That would be amazing.
I don't think anybody on the internet has talked about the Venture Brothers very much. So actually, it might become topical again. Yeah. By the time you get to the V's on this podcast, it's like
it comes back around.
Yeah.
Or like the mass public has found it, so then everybody's talking about it. I'm like,
there we go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Such a great show. But yeah, what was I saying? Futurama is great. Watch it. That's what I was saying. There you go. Loved the rewatch.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here this week and talking nerd talk and animation and all the crazy things about Futurama with me.
Yeah. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I have more nerd things coming up, as you know, so you'll definitely be back on and we'll definitely be talking more nerd things and laughing at stuff. Yes.
Yeah. Eventually you'll have to tell me that it's too much, but until then I'm gonna keep showing up on your podcast. So
yay. Okay. I'm all right with it for now. Dun, dun, dun.
I'm out thin ice.
Well, that's it for this episode of Off My Shelf. Until next time, you can follow along on Instagram and Twitter at ohmyshelf, or you can send an email to ohmyshelf@gmail.com. On the next episode, we'll be talking about another odd combination of films, Galaxy Quest and Garden State. Hope you'll be here to listen.